Hi, I'm going to bow. Hello, and welcome to Unit 7 this semester. First, I want to say how much I appreciated your engagement with each other's papers last week. I think they were a good start in defining and exploring transpersonal psychology, articulating your understanding of transpersonal psychology. And I want to emphasize that the paper you did last week is the beginning of the larger paper that you'll do at the end of the semester. So for that paper, you'll add to your definition some more explicit critique and analysis of transpersonal psychology, both its strengths and its weaknesses, its contributions and its needs, and also apply transpersonal psychology to a particular topic. But there's plenty of time to think about that later as we go on through the semester. For now, I'm really happy with beginning articulation of a definition of transpersonal psychology that I saw, and I'm glad that you were able to engage with each other and around those papers. So thanks for that. Always glad to see that. This week our topic is research methods and more broadly, ways of knowing in transpersonal psychology. Now, I've organized the semester following Francis Vaughan's template around transpersonal context, content, and process. With ways of knowing and research methods, I think we actually bridge transpersonal psychology's context and its practices or processes. In terms of its context, transpersonal psychology's view of research methods places it squarely in the human sciences, along with humanistic, existential, and phenomenological psychology. There are differences, but in terms of ways of knowing, there's primary value given to consciousness, which means the phenomenological research methods, qualitative research methods, storytelling essentially, is at the heart of understanding the human experience. So these research methods that transpersonal psychology values highlights the primacy that it gives to consciousness in understanding human experience. But transpersonal psychology doesn't exclude other research methods or ways of knowing. So this indicates its valuing of inclusion, diversity in terms of research methods. So I hark back to our unit on diversity and inclusivity in terms of culture, states of consciousness, ways of understanding human beings, ways of understanding human nature. And now we extend that diversity into research methods and ways of knowing. So this points to the context of transpersonal psychology as being inclusive, pluralistic. So that's one of the main themes you'll see in the readings this week is a pluralistic approach to research methods. So in addition to qualitative and phenomenological methods, we find transpersonal psychologists also using hard science, quantitative methods, experimentation, doing a lot of leading edge work these days with the neurophysiology of higher states of consciousness, of mystical experiences, compassion, positive psychology. And thirdly, I think in terms of the broad strokes of research methods, transpersonal psychology values philosophical methods. That is, understanding the concepts that we're using and the implications of those concepts, the implications of different ways of thinking about human nature, our interactions with ourselves and the world, different ways of thinking about what's possible for human beings. So much of the work in transpersonal psychology is really conceptual work, analyzing the concepts and questioning the fundamentals of the way we view human beings. Philosophical methods, quantitative methods, qualitative and phenomenological methods. So we'll touch on each of those this week. My point here is that I think looking at the research methods of transpersonal psychology helps to unfold, helps to reveal more about its context. At the same time, research methods can be considered a practice. Knowing is a practice. Meditation and other contemplative practices are ways of knowing our own experience. When we speak of beginner's mind, it points to an openness to what's real right now in your experience. I think there are parallels between the qualities of a good scientist and the qualities of someone on a transpersonal path. They're not exactly the same, but there are so many examples throughout history of mystics who were also scientists and scientists who were also mystics. And these examples point to this correspondence between research methods as a practice and transpersonal psychology and its practices. For example, a meditator is humble and open to whatever might come into experience. Non-judgmental, willing to find out what's actually true, courageous, precise, trying to understand exactly what's happening in experience, specific, not just general and broad. And these are also some of the characteristics and qualities of a good researcher. Humble, to test a hypothesis and be willing to let it go if the data don't bear it out. Open to what is actually happening in the moment, what's actually happening in our research study. Precise, specific, courageous, willing to ask questions that others haven't asked, and accept the answers that come. Of course, this is talking about, quote, good science, unquote, and we know that there are a lot of examples of scientists who are really just sort of proving a point or trying to use the methods of science to vindicate a particular stance or even persuade us to their view. But I'm talking about the ideal of a scientist and the ideal of a contemplative, someone on a transpersonal path. So I want to bring this point out. It'll come through in the lecture, I hope. But for now, that's a point I wanted to make. Transpersonal research methods as both revealing the context of transpersonal psychology and as a practice. So for now, I want to say thanks and glad you're here, and I'll bow. I look forward to seeing you online. Bye for now.